Continue the Maimer Shlach Lecha Anashim Mevorchim Tammuz Tavshin Yud Aleph. So we're talking about the greatness that was achieved by the fact that the Jewish people came into Eretz Yisrael, that now they began the avodah of mitzvahs, maisius of practical mitzvahs. In order to explain this, the Rebbe explained the difference between the spiritual mitzvahs, as Reb Shimon ben Yochai, and the Arizal, the Baal Shem Tov, people who are on the level of Leviathan. They're completely covered with godliness. They're completely submerged in godliness. And their avodah is one of just connecting themselves, and as a result, the world to godliness. And then there's the avodah of Sheira Bar, being involved with the physical world. And that we explained that although Leviathan is something which is so much higher, which is why the Leviathan causes the Shchita, it shechts the Sheira Bar, meaning it draws it, it causes it to have Klois HaNefesh, to have a yearning for godliness. And yet the Sheira Bar, the avodah of elevating the physical world, is able to lift up the Leviathan, because since something that's higher comes down lower, this specifically the avodah of being involved with mitzvahs maisis, with practical mitzvahs in the physical world, is something which reaches so much higher. And then the Rebbe explains that this is what the difference between the Deir HaMidbar, the Jewish people as they were in the Midbar, and the Jewish people as they came into Eretz Yisrael. The Jewish people, as they were in the Midbar, they were in the level of Leviathan. They were like Reb Shimon ben Yochai. They didn't have practical mitzvahs. They didn't need practical mitzvahs. They were involved with a higher level of spirituality, where just when the physical body grows, just as when the neshama grows, it causes the body to grow. With them, the neshama growing also caused their garments to grow with them. They didn't need to do anything in the physical world. They didn't have to be involved in the physical world. Their avodah was in thought and speech. Learning Torah, which is a mitzvah which is involved with speech, which is why they were called Deir HaMidbar. Midbar is also from the word midaber, speaking. Midbarech nave, your speech is beautiful. That they spoke words of Torah, and that's the idea of learning Torah in a way of speech. They didn't have any involvement with the world. Once they came into Eretz Yisrael, there was a need to be involved with plowing and sowing and harvesting, to be involved with the physical world. And now the Rebbe says that in order to be able to get there, since this is the new avodah going from the Midbar into Eretz Yisrael, it's a totally new avodah, which is in essence a lot higher, because it's one that can reach so much higher. In order to be able to accomplish that avodah, there had to be a special nesinas koyach, a special strength and power from above. Which means, in addition to the fact that when a person has to get involved with the world, he needs the help of Hashem, and like we know that the Tanya says, Ilulei HaKadosh Baruch Hu oizer yeina yachaloi, that the Alter Rebbe brings from the Gemara, which talks about the pasuk in Tehillim, that Hashem helps the Jewish person, and had it not been for Hashem's helping us, if Hashem wouldn't assist us in being able to overcome the Yetzer Hara, we would never manage. When a person has to go into the world, into the physical world, and get involved with the physical world, he needs help from above. In addition to the help that's needed at the time of the Avodah in order to overcome one's Yetzer Hara, there's also the fact that in order to be able to get there, in order to be able to get to that level of being able to be involved in the world, one needs to have a special siyua, a special help from above, to be able to begin and to start this new level of avodah. And the Rebbe explains the concept of the siyua, of this help, that we can see it with regards to doing mitzvahs. That we could see with regards to learning Torah, because everything starts in Torah. We know that the Torah is called three things. Torah is called a Yerusha. It says, Torah tziva lanu Moshe meirasha. Torah is an inheritance for every Jew. Then there's another level of Torah about which it says in the Mishnah, Haskein atzmacha lilmei Torah she'ena Yerusha lach. Involve yourself in learning Torah. Don't think it's an inheritance. You have to work hard and toil in the study of Torah. Then there's the level of Torah which is called a matana. It's a gift from above. What are these three things? We start with the first level, which is Torah. The way it's a Yerusha, it's an inheritance. That's something that comes from above. That's the power to be able to learn Torah. How can a person down here in the physical world learn Torah, which is Hashem's wisdom? The reason and the ability to be able to do that is because Torah is our inheritance. Torah belongs to us. It connects to us. It's something which a person, regardless of where he is, just like even a child inherits. It doesn't matter the status of the one who's inheriting. It's just the fact that he's connected to the one whom is giving the inheritance. He receives it. He connects to it. He gets it. And the same thing by the mere fact that a person's a Jew, he has the power to learn Torah. But that's a power, a strong, powerful thing that comes from above, that comes from Hashem. Then there's the second level of Torah. The fact that a person has to toil in order to understand the study of Torah. That's Tahaskin Atzmach Lilmei Torah, She'ena Yerusha lach. The idea of working hard and being involved in the study of Torah. Then there's the third level, which is the gift of Torah. Which means after a person worked hard, you can't rely on what comes from above. What comes from above gives a person the power to actually do it. But once a person toils and works hard in understanding Torah, then there's something which he gets which he wouldn't be able to achieve on his own. And the only way he can achieve it is through the fact that Hashem gives it to him as a gift from above. The Gemara tells us that when Moshe Rabbeinu was for the 40 days and 40 nights in Har Sinai, so he would study Torah and he would forget it. And Hashem gave it to him as a gift. Which means that there is a certain aspect of Torah that a person can't reach no matter how hard he works. He won't be able to reach it on his own. And that's like we learned earlier in the last Maimer. Va'eya etzlei amoin. There's the essence of the Torah. And there's the shashuim, the tainug, the pleasure of Hashem in the Torah. That's something that a person can't reach with his own work. It's something that Hashem gives a person from above. When does Hashem give it? When the person worked. Like we say, the Gemara tells us that a gift is something, ilav the avid le'naicha de nafsha le'hava yoyev le'matnasa. If the person wouldn't have done you something, a favor, done you a good turn, you wouldn't give him a gift. A gift isn't a payment. A gift isn't something you give someone because they did something. But yet you don't just give a gift to someone, to any person. You give a gift to someone who you want to give a gift to. So the gift comes on its own. But yet it comes to a person who's reached the level that you should want to give him the gift. So similarly here in Torah, there's the power that comes from above the Yerusha. There's the Haskein Atzmecha, the person working hard. Once a person worked hard on their own, and they did what they have to do, and they toiled in understanding the Torah that Hashem gives from above, after the avodah, after the work, Hashem gives a person the gift of Torah. And it's the same thing with mitzvahs. When we do a mitzvah, we start off by saying a bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. The Rebbe brings that the idea of Elokeinu is koicheinu, our strength. How do we get Kiddushanu b'mitzvaysav? How do we become sanctified to be able to have the power to do a mitzvah? It's not just something like this, just like that a person can be able to do the mitzvah of Hashem. Elokeinu. There's a koyach, there's a power from above that gives a person the power to be able to do the mitzvah. Then a person does the mitzvah and he works hard in being able and actually doing it properly in this world. And once the person does the mitzvah, he receives the hamshacha, he receives the strength from above that comes as a result of the mitzvah that he did. The Gemara, the Rebbe explains an interesting thing over here, that this is why the Gemara tells us what does Hashem do in the course of the day. The Gemara talks about the day being 12 hours. The first 3 hours of the day, Hashem is sitting and studying Torah. And the question is, we know that it says in Gemara, anyone that studies Torah at any given time, Hashem studies across from him. At all times during the day, Jews are learning Torah. So at every given moment in the day, Hashem is learning Torah. What's special about these first 3 hours that we say Hashem is sitting and studying Torah? So this explains that it's these 3 hours that Hashem is learning Torah on His own. In other words, it's what's drawn down from above, the power that comes from above. It's called the Gimel Rishon is the Atik. The first 3 hours of the day are considered the 3 hours of Atik, which means that are removed. The light of Hashem, which is removed and above the world. The essence, the essential light of godliness that's removed from the world. That Hashem on His own is sitting and connecting to the idea of studying Torah. That gives the power that throughout the day Jews are able to study Torah, and this gives us the power that when we study Torah, Hashem actually studies together with us. But for that we need a power that comes from above, and that's the 3 hours, the first 3 hours of the day. So now this is the general idea. If we want to be able to do something important like this, there has to be a power and a strength, something that comes from above. So Rebbe says, that's why Moshe Rabbeinu sent the Meraglim. The Jewish people are about to go into Eretz Yisrael. They're about to go to this level of actually doing mitzvahs maisiyos, of being able to do the strongest type of mitzvah, the mitzvah that a person does in this physical world, in which he can elevate the physical world. So a person needs the power and the strength to be able to do such a thing. To be able to actually put on tzitzis, to be able to actually put on tefillin, keep Shabbos, to be able to actually be involved with practical mitzvahs in the world, that's the highest sparks of godliness that came into the physical thing in order to be able to elevate them. Moshe Rabbeinu now wants the Jewish people to be able to have the power to do these mitzvahs maitzis. How can they be able to do it? For this, he said, he's sending Meraglim. What are Meraglim? Who are Meraglim? Meraglim were all Anshe Moshe. Kulam Anashim. They were all people. They were all the heads of the Jewish people. Not only that, they were sent by Moshe. Shlach l'chol l'daitcha. They were sent with the knowledge, with the realization, with the understanding of Moshe. Moshe sent them. They're messengers. They're shluchim of Moshe. They have now the power of Moshe. And these Meraglim who have the power of Moshe were sent to go into Eretz Yisrael in order to enable the Jewish people, in order to give the power to the Jewish people to be able to actually v'yasuru, to come to v'yasuru es Eretz Kenan. V'yasuru, the word v'yasuru comes from the word Yisroin, the advantage. Yisroin Aretz, the advantage of the earth, of the lowest part of the world, is the fact that one can actually do practical mitzvahs in this world. V'yasuru es Eretz Kenan. sent people. Moshe Rabbeinu sent them with the power of Moshe to bring the koyach, that when the Jewish people now to prepare and to enable the Yidden to be able to come into Eretz Yisrael and actually do the mitzvahs in the lowest part in the land. How will they do that? How will they have the power? What power were they bringing? They were bringing the power of Re'iyah, of seeing, of looking and seeing at the land, the Avodah of seeing, which that's the Avodah, the special Avodah of Moshe Rabbeinu, like Mr. Shem will continue to explain next time.